Hey guys, my name is Spooky J, and if you guys like to listen to scary stories, then definitely subscribe, because that's all I'm going to be posting on this channel, is me making up scary stories and posting them, recording them, posting them to YouTube. So yeah, if you guys enjoy that type of stuff, then definitely like my videos and subscribe. The majority of the videos that I do post are probably going to be stories that I come up with on my own, because I have a very wild imagination. So when I'm bored or something, I will just make up a story in my head, and if it's good enough, then I will post it to this channel. So yeah, guys, like I said, if you like those types of videos, then make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to help out the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, with all of that being said, then let's get into the video. Miles was a college freshman when this story took place, and during one of his classes, the only class that he has with his two friends, David and Josh. They decided to go on a camping trip, so they went back to Miles's apartment, and once they got inside the apartment, Josh and Miles sat on the couch, and David actually had a snack on the dining room table. He was having a bowl of cereal. Anyway, they were starting to plan out where they were going to go for the camping trip, and David and Miles suggested they go to their usual spot in Michigan, but this time Josh didn't want to go there. He said he wanted to go somewhere new so that he could explore more of the woods and really just be out in a part of nature that he's never been in before. So he decided that he wanted to go to some place up near his aunt's house. It was a dense forest, but there was a trail that was easy to spot. You could easily get on the trail. It was hard to get lost on the trail, though. Even though it is a dense forest, it's pretty hard to get lost on the trail, he said. And it was a good spot for fishing and hunting. So it was really like the perfect spot to go camping. So me and David were psyched. We decided, yeah, we really want to go here with him. So since it was his idea, we decided to take his truck out, and the next day we started packing up to go there, and once we were finished packing, we got on his truck and started heading down. After about 20 minutes of driving, David said, "Hey guys, can we stop somewhere? I really gotta go to the bathroom." So I said, "Yeah, bro, if you just take this exit, we'll be in my father's neighborhood, and we can stop at my father's house, and we can go get some snacks, just kind of chill, give the car a break, and we can go to the bathroom." So Josh got off the exit and started heading towards my dad's house, and once we got there, my dad opened the door, and he invited us in. He let us sit down on the couch, let us use his bathroom, let us have something to eat. And once we were finished doing our business there, we hopped back in Josh's truck and got back on the highway and started heading towards Maine. Now, it took about an hour and a half until Josh finally said, "Hey, now I gotta go to the bathroom." So I was like, "Okay, no problem. In about 20 minutes, we'll get off the exit up there, and we can head towards my sister's house and go to and we can use the bathroom, and we can sit and chill and give the car a break again." So after about 25 minutes of driving, we finally ended up at my sister's house, and once we came inside, David headed off to the bathroom, and me and Josh sat in the living room, and Josh leaned into me and he said, "Hey bro, so I looked up the forest that we're gonna go to." And I said, hey, that's cool. So what's the name of the forest?" And he said, "The name of the forest doesn't really matter right now, but what you should know is that people actually do go camping there sometimes, and no one's actually been there in a while. But when people do go camping, a lot of the times people do tend to go missing there, and they are never really found most of the time. So I just wanted to let you know." And I said, "Okay, that's kind of creepy. Are you sure you still want to go?" And he said, "Yeah, I mean, we came this far. Like, why should we stop now?" And I was like, "Maybe you're right." So once we finished doing our business at my sister's house, we got back in the truck and started heading down to his aunt's house. Once we got to the doorstep, I could pretty much tell right away that Josh had a worried look on his face. So I asked him, "Hey bro, what's the problem? You look kind of worried." And he said, "Oh, I'm just kind of worried about, it's a new area we're going into and people have gone missing here before. So I'm a little bit worried about it." But before I could answer, his aunt opened the door and welcomed us in and led us into her house, let us sit down, go to the bathroom, have a snack, and then she asked, "Well, I know you're not here to say hi to an old lady like me, so where are you guys off to?" And Josh said, "Oh, well, we're going to the forest out west of here." And his aunt looked at him kind of shocked and angry at the same time. She said, "Why would you go there? People go missing there all the time. What, are you guys going camping there?" And Josh said, "Yeah, we're going camping there." He said, "We're gonna go camping there for a few days, and then we'll come back here, rest up a little bit, and then we're gonna head back home." And his aunt said, "But like I said, people go missing there all the time. What makes you think that you guys won't? Pretty much everyone who goes there goes missing. You guys are probably going to be hurt in some way. So why don't you guys just don't go?" And Josh said, "Look, Auntie, we've been waiting for this for a few days now. We really want to go, so just let us go." And his aunt said, "Okay, I'll let you go, but I told you not to go, so don't blame me if you guys disappear. Also, stay away from the lake east of the entrance of the forest, because weird stuff happens there." And Josh said, "Okay, we'll stay away from the woods." And then we left and started heading to the woods. Once we got to the trail, it's a very wide trail, so I'm telling myself, well, this trail is very wide and very obvious, so if I was running through the woods, I would definitely know if I'm on the trail or not. Even if I was running very fast, I would definitely know if I was on trail or not. So we headed into the woods, into the forest, and after like 10 minutes of walking, it started getting pretty dark, so we decided to move from the trail and down to the left and set up camp there. And once we found a good spot to set up our camp, we started making a campfire. Then we started setting up our tents, and once we finished setting up our tents, it was already pretty dark, so we decided to head to bed and do something in the morning. So then when I woke up, got dressed and everything, and then I went outside, and Josh was already awake, but he was cooking some meat, and I said, "Josh, where'd you get the meat? We didn't even pack any meat to come here." And he said, "Oh, I went fishing down at the lake." And I said, "Didn't your aunt say not to go to the lake?" And he said, "Well, yeah, but we needed food, some good food, so I went fishing down there, got us some food, and I was fine. Everything went good. I caught a few fish. It's very easy to catch fish down there, so we can go fishing down there right now and we can have a lot of fun down there." So I agreed, and then David came out and we all went to the lake. Once we got there, we noticed that there were some kayaks down there, and we assumed that they were from previous campers who came here before. Either that or there was some campers here and they dropped the kayaks down here. So we decided to just borrow them for a little while. We didn't want to take them for too long because we didn't know if they would be back. So once we got into the kayaks, there was 2 kayaks, and we head out to the middle of the lake and we started going fishing there. And right when we got out to the middle of the lake, I actually took time to look around, and I noticed that the lake was beautiful. It was such a great scene. The trees were amazing. There was birds chirping. There was a waterfall down a little ways, and I couldn't understand why Josh's aunt didn't want us to come down here. It was such a great place. We actually took a few photos down there, and it was just great. We started catching a ton of fish. Like, if you were loved fishing, this was the perfect spot to go fishing. You just kept catching fish. It's like they wouldn't stop biting the line. After about like 5 minutes, we each caught like 4 fish, and like I said, they just wouldn't stop biting the line. We were having such a great time down there, and I looked over at David, and me and him were having the best time ever. I looked over at Josh, though, and he kind of had like a worried look on his face, as if he had just seen a ghost. And I asked him, "Hey man, what's going on? You look kind of worried again." And he said, "Oh, it's nothing. Let's just catch a few more fish and head back, and have something to eat, and then we can go hunting or something." So I was like, "Yeah, bro, let's do that. So we caught a few more fish, and once I threw my last fish back into the water, I looked over at David, and now he looked kind of worried. And I was like, "Are you guys okay?" And they both said, "Let's just go back to shore, and let's just get back to camp." And I was like, "All right, let's go then." So we got back to shore, put the kayaks back, and started walking back to camp. Once we got back to camp, I asked them, "What's wrong? What happened while we were on the lake? And what did I not see or hear that you guys did? I was with you guys, so what happened?" And they told me, they said, "Well, while we were on the lake, we heard what sounded like a baby crying, and it just kept crying and crying, and then we heard some whoop, or some yell, a whistle, a loud whistle. How did you not hear it?" And then the baby stopped crying, and all you could hear was a loud snap. And it was kind of scary, bro. How'd you not hear it? And, so then we sat down at the campfire, and I said, "I don't know, I just didn't hear it, man. I'm sorry, and I don't know what to tell you, but it's just something that I didn't hear." So we turned these logs into benches, so that you can sit back on the logs. And we sat there, and we actually fell asleep for quite a while. Actually, a few hours. We woke up, and it was starting to get dark. So we were like, so Josh said that he was just gonna go ahead and go to bed. But David said, "Well, if whatever out there has actually killed people before, maybe we should make a shelter out of heavy wood." And me and Josh, we agreed, so we decided to make it in like an underground tunnel type thing. So we just dug a small hole that all of us could sit in, and we just put logs that we kind of taped together, and they were heavy logs, so like no normal person could just lift it up. And we put that over it, so if we needed to, we could get under the log and be completely covered and completely safe. So we put some leaves over it to camouflage it, and we got in our tents and started heading to bed. But about 30 minutes later, I heard someone walking outside my tent, and it kind of scared me. So I was just sitting up, staring at the wall of my tent, waiting for this thing to just go away. And I assumed it was a bear. But then it started whistling, and it confused me, but also kind of scared me. And then I heard one of the tent zippers, and I couldn't tell who it was, because I was on the far left of everyone else. So this was coming from the right, and I couldn't really tell who it was. And I found out it was Josh, because I heard him scream. He yelled at it, and he said, "Get out of here." And I heard him shoot his gun, and this thing let out a terrifying scream that sounded almost like a large demented elk. It sounded like a large demented elk. We all had our clothes on just in case we didn't ever need to go into the shelter we had made. So I came out of my tent with my gun, and David came out of his tent with his gun. And we asked Josh, what was it? What did you see? And he said, dude, it is huge. It has big red eyes. I don't think this shelter is enough. And David said, who cares? Let's just go in the shelter just to be safe. And so we went into the shelter. We sat down for a bit, and we just kind of sat there for about 30 minutes, and it came back. But this time it was like two sets of footprints that we were hearing. And the thing that scared all of us is the fact that it sounded like they were communicating to each other in a language that we couldn't understand. But then it started imitating a woman, and I felt like I recognized the woman. And it said, Joshy, where are you at? And then I realized that it was imitating Josh's mother, who had passed away near his aunt's house only a few years before. And this made Josh very, very angry. So he got out of the shelter and started opening fire on whatever was out there. So, and I couldn't see it, but I knew just by the way that you could hear the footsteps that this thing was actually pretty huge. And once Josh had emptied his entire magazine into whatever it was out there, he just took off into the woods, and these two things followed him. And I knew right away that he was just reloading his gun while he was running. And a few more shots rang out, and Josh yelled out and screamed. And then he started yelling, help, please someone help me, kill this thing. And then all you heard was just what sounds like something tearing him limb from limb. So David grabbed me and said, listen, we need to get out of here now. So we got out of the shelter, because the way we dug it so like we could get out of one specific spot. So we went to that spot, climbed out, and started booking it to the trail. We found the trail, and then we just kept going, and we ran as fast as we could. And while we were running, I could hear these things behind us. I could hear them running behind us. It sounded like 4 other beasts behind us. And I turned around because I heard David saying something to me. But when I turned around, there was nothing there. The beasts weren't there, neither was David. So I was kind of confused. I was like, where did they go? So I knew I had to go back to look for them. And as I started walking back, I felt like I was being watched. So, of course, I was looking all around, making sure there was no one there. And there was no one ever there. And then I heard David way off to the right, off the trail. And at this point, I was just so confused. How did he get off the trail? Like, it's such an obvious trail. There's no way you could get sidetracked on this trail. There's no way you could mistake going right off the trail for the trail when this trail is super wide. It's obvious. I was confused. So I started going to him and yelling his name. And every time I got, it seemed like it was getting closer, it sounded further away. So I was even more confused. I eventually got to this clearing where there was this deep pond, and Josh was telling us about it before, and he said that the middle of the pond is up to his waist, and Josh is a bit taller than me. I'm 5'7" and he's 6'3", and for it to be up to his waist, it's pretty deep. And there was just this tall black figure standing in the middle of the pond, and it looked like the water was only up to his knees. So I was terrified. This deep pond is only up to this thing's knees, and it had glowing red eyes. And then it started imitating David, and it said, "Miles, help me, please." So I turned around and I started running back in the direction that I knew the trail was in, because I was taking notes on where I was going. I'm not dumb. So once I got to the trail, I turned left and went. I just started running, and as I was running, I heard more footsteps behind me, and I heard David behind me, and then I heard Josh behind me. They were both yelling at me to run. They were saying, "Run, keep running." As I turned around, I saw David behind me telling me to run and don't stop. So I did exactly what he said. I just ran and I didn't stop. And then I saw a street light. And so I just kept going until I got to the barrier that separated the woods from the street, and I jumped over it, landed on my back, and turned around to see David wasn't there, but it was still this beast, this Sasquatch, looking at me with its big red eyes, and it imitated David's voice, saying, and he said, "You'll come back here, they always do." And it turned around and walked into the woods. So by now I'm terrified, heart is racing, and I just ran down the road, and I saw a car coming towards me. So I waved the car down and told him that I think my friends just died in the woods. And he said, "Yeah, probably. These things happen all the time." He said that this area was known for Bigfoot sightings, and that people keep going missing in the woods, and their bodies are never recovered and never found. But recently there was a cave found with human bones in it, so that's probably one of the dens that they sleep in, or something like that. And then I asked him if I could borrow his phone for a minute, because I left mine in the camp, and he said, "Sure, here you go." And I called Josh's aunt and let her know that Josh didn't make it, and she said, "I'm sad, but I'm not surprised." And she said, "I did warn you guys that it was a bad idea, but I really should have done more to stop you guys from going in there. I knew it was dangerous, and I just let it happen." And then she hung up, and I've never heard from her again. And we did have some sort of funeral for them, closed casket funeral, and ever since that day, I can't stop remembering everything that happened in the woods, and I'll never forget the terrifying scream that beast let out. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and it really helps to support the channel and improve on future content. So, hope you guys enjoyed, guys. Send this video. See you all in the next one. Peace out.